Thank you very much. Pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting was provided indicating the time and place the same in accordance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975. The advertising notice in the Star Gazette, the Express Times, by posting copy on the bulletin board in this building. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Here.
Councilman Beltrán.
Here.
Councilwoman McCabe.
Here.
Council President Chesler.
Here.
Here. Executive session stand, please.
We were in executive session for approximately 32 minutes. The topics of discussion were contractual regarding the police contract, contractual regarding, what do we want to call that one? SEC advisors, contractual regarding the sale of township property, and personnel.
Thank you very much.
And the subject of that meeting will be available at such time as the need for confidentiality no longer exists.
Thank you. Motion to go out of executive session?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. First, we have some special presentations to make. Three. Due to some other scheduling issues, we're going to take them out of order. So first, I'd like to welcome Ms. Rainey Roncaroni, Superintendent of Lopatcong School District, to discuss with us or make a presentation on the topic of all-day kindergarten. So, Ms. Roncaroni, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor Steinhardt and Council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for having me here tonight. I'm here this evening with some of my staff members to present to you some information about the kindergarten expansion question. On November 4th, Lopatcong residents will have the opportunity to decide if they would like to support a full-day kindergarten program in our school district. The expansion question reads, in addition to the regular advertised budget, the Board of Education will seek approval from the district's legal voters to raise an additional $355,000 for the expansion of our kindergarten program to a full-day program. The additional levy will provide funds for 3 new teachers, 8 part-time aides, supplies, textbooks, and the employee benefits related to the new position. The taxes, if raised, will be used exclusively for this purpose. Approval of these taxes will result in a permanent increase in the district's tax levy. These proposed additional expenditures are in addition to those necessary to achieve the Common Core. So I'm here this evening to provide for you some information and facts about a full-day kindergarten program. 90% of Warren County schools currently offer full-day programs. 76% of schools in New Jersey have full-day programs. And the rigorous Common Core state standards require more instruction to meet them than a half-day program would allow for. The research states that a full-day program increases school readiness, leads to higher academic achievement, supports literacy and language development, improves student attendance, benefits children socially and emotionally, and decrease the cost by reducing retention and remediation rates over time. The programs, we are only one of 2 school districts in the county that do not offer a full-day program at this time. I'd also like to talk to you a little bit about the difference between what a half-day program offers and a full-day program. Briefly, in just the areas of literacy and math, our program currently allows the students to have up to 40 minutes 4 times a week for literacy. A 90-minute uninterrupted block of time would increase that time 50 minutes per day of just literacy instruction. In addition, mathematics is currently only able to be instructed 30 minutes per day. The additional full-day program would give them 30 extra minutes. Currently, our literacy and math programs are designed for full-day programs. We are currently using them, and we are implementing them in the half-day to the best of our ability. I'd like to quote the Harvard Graduate School of Education by stating, the goal of ensuring that every American student is college and career ready requires greater attention to the early years of education that establish the foundations for learning. Ensuring that high-quality, full-day kindergarten is an integral part of the pre-K through third efforts, providing a bridge between early childhood and early elementary years should be a top priority for every state and school district. At this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Gallant to speak about the cost impact for the residents.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
As Mrs. Rognerodi mentioned, the total cost of this will be $355,000 that we're voting on. The owner of a house that is assessed at $230,000, which is the median value for a house in Lopatcong, will see an annual tax increase of $92. This works out to $1.77 per day. I also just wanted to say that the reason that I think this program will be a success is that our new superintendent, Mrs. Roncaroni, was previously the principal at the Early Childhood Center in Phillipsburg, which had 10 full-day kindergartens. So she knows very, very well what it takes to make a successful program, and she's been on the forefront of implementing and designing what the new program will be. So, thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Clark.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very, very much.
Okay.
Ms. Roccaroni, thank you. Mr. Gallant, thank you both very much, and thank you for the information. Next on the agenda, item number 2 is a resolution to swear in Michael Patricia as a provisional sergeant within the Lopatcong Township Police Department. I'd like to invite Mr. Patricia and his family to come forward. You have an oath up there.
I, Michael Patricia, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. True faith and allegiance to the same. To the governments established in the United States. To the governments established in the United States and in the state. And in the state under the authority of the people. Under the authority of the people. That I will faithfully. Impartially, and justly perform all the duties as a sergeant in the police department. All the duties as a sergeant in the police department, according to the best of my ability. According to the best of my ability. So thank you.
Is there a motion on the resolution? Second. Second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Schneider.
I'll abstain from that vote. The reason I'm abstaining is because currently, right now, today was the first I've heard of this promotion. We are under negotiation right now with the police officers. We have not reached an agreement yet, and this will definitely impact the numbers that we have right now. And as of this time, I'm abstaining. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Belcarro.
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay.
Yes.
Council President Chesler.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. While we're on the topics of sergeants in the police department, next I'd like to recognize, may I have that, please?
Yes.
Sergeant William Spencer. For those of you who don't know, Will retired from the Lopatcong Township Police Department on September 1, 2004, after having served with us since June 1 of 1994. Will was a fixture in the community for those of you who had occasion to meet him, either on the helpful side or on the defendant side. But, regardless of how you came to get to know Will, Will was always a gentleman. He was as I said, familiar to everyone who's ever had to do business here, always known to be an exceptional leader. In his capacity as a sergeant, is respected amongst his fellow officers. It's my pleasure to present to him a proclamation from the township, which reads as follows. Whereas William A. Spencer became a police officer for the Lopatcong Township Police Department on June 1, 1994. And whereas William A. Spencer was promoted to sergeant on February 1, 2001. And whereas Sergeant William A. Spencer, in addition to his regular law enforcement duties, organized the National Night Out Program, the DARE program, and volunteered in our athletic association for many years. And whereas Sergeant William A. Spencer retired from service on September 1, 2014, and whereas the Township of Lopatcong publicly salutes the service of Sergeant William A. Spencer as a law enforcement officer who devoted his career to safeguarding the rights and freedoms of our citizens in our community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor and Council of the Township of Lopatcong, County of Warren, and State of New Jersey congratulate you and wish you a happy and healthy retirement. Sir.
Council, any comments on the topic? Feel
I would
free.
I'd just like to thank Will. In the short time that I've been the LAA liaison, I've seen him many times helping out, especially with softball, just volunteering. He just recently he donated like a beautiful tent for our use, and from what everybody's told me, he's been doing that for years in addition to being a fine police officer in this town. So I thank you for that.
Thank you. Ms. McKay?
Well, just wish you well and enjoy your retirement. Thanks for all your contributions to Lopatcong.
Ms. Snyder?
Good luck, Will. It was nice working with you, and I hope you have a great retirement and have some fun.
Well, thanks for your career, for your time you put in this township. I know you're one of the first cops we met. I met when I moved to Lopatcong.
How?
How?
It was on a good note, of course. It was, it's a great thing. Thank you.
Sir, thank you very much. We're going to take a quick, 1 minute recess before we get into the rest of the agenda to allow any folks who don't want to stay for the rest of the meeting to quietly work their way out. And then we'll get back to the regular agenda in about, like I said, about a minute and a half. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, public comment agenda items only. There being none, moving on. Old business, approve the minutes of the August 6, 2014 meeting. Everyone's had a chance to read and review those. Questions, comments, corrections? Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Belcarra.
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay.
I abstain. I wasn't there.
Council President Chesler.
Yes.
And Mayor Snyder.
Yes, item 2 is ordinance number 14-8, first reading to amend, revise, and supplement chapter.
You had one.
I wasn't
Yes,
here?
you know.
You weren't
Oh, yeah,
here.
that's right, I wasn't here. Sorry about that. Abstain. Okay.
That's right.
I don't remember where I was
It was
this
August
afternoon, let alone where I was on August 6th. Okay. Item number 2 is ordinance number 14-8, first reading to amend, revise, and supplement chapter 227 entitled Vehicles and Traffic, including section 25, multi-way stop intersections relative to the intersection of Baltimore Street and South First Street. Mr. Sturbins?
Yeah, this is the same ordinance that was introduced on August 6th by the council. The only difference is there's a section 4, which is at the bottom of page 1. That section had to be added because the DOT is indicated to myself that they need to review this ordinance after adoption by the township council due to the proximity of the intersection to Route 22. So we needed to add this section as a result of that conversation and reintroduce the ordinance.
Thank you. Based on Mr. Sturbins' explanation, motion on item 2?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Belcarra.
Yes.
Councilman McKay.
Yes.
Council President Chesler.
Yes.
Yes, item number 1 under new business is to approve a developer's agreement for coordinated help. Sturbins?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, Coordinated Health received earlier this year preliminary final site plan approval from the planning board. There were a number of conditions that were attached to that particular approval. One of the conditions was the consummation of a developer's agreement between Coordinated Health and the Township of Lopatcong. As a result of that, the applicant requested that Katrina Campbell prepare an agreement, and she's prepared that agreement for you tonight. I've given her there's some things that relate to engineering that I've had her add to the agreement, so as a result, you have that agreement tonight with my input and Katrina's input. But the reason for this is the conditions of approval.
Understood.
Just to let you know also, I forwarded a copy of the agreement to Council for Coordinated Health, and they reviewed it. Had a couple of minor things that we were happy to, that's your own.
Okay, just check.
So we were happy to make those changes. They were stylistic more than anything, so we made those changes. So that's just.
Thank you. Motion item 1.
Motion.
Second. Discussion. Roll call.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Valcarro?
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay?
Yes.
Council President Testa?
Yes.
Mayor Snyder?
Abstain. My law firm represents Coordinated Health. Number 2, letter from Coordinated Health requesting sewer allocation approval for 345 gallons per day.
This is also as a result of the conditions of approval. The applicant needed to obtain a sewer allocation. There's a process in the ordinance for doing that, and the applicant followed that process and made a request to get this particular allocation that's indicated in your agenda. And I think there's plenty of capacity to handle this. There is a letter from the sewer engineer with several conditions that should be applied to this particular approval tonight if you do that.
Thank you. Questions for Mr. Sturbins? Motion item 2.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Valcarro?
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay?
Yes.
Council President Testa?
Yes.
Mayor Snyder?
Abstain. Same reason. Item number 3 is to approve the purchase of off-duty weapons for the police department at a cost of $2,506. There's been a request from Chief Marinelli to buy out the off-duty weapons within the department. They're being replaced with new off-duty weapons, and they are then returned. So the original price, I think, of the weapons is approximately $6,000. There's approximately $4,000 on the return, and then the new weapons come to the township at a cost of $2,500, or $2,506.
It's like a trade.
Yes.
Okay.
Questions or comments?
I have just a quick question. How often do we just do the trade-ins based on usage or based on just the age of the
No, it's a
weapon?
requirement that they be qualified on the same weapon, and the weapons that they have now are not.
Okay.
So in order to be consistent, so they don't have to replace both, they're replacing the off-duty weapon. So that
Okay.
that will be the same now as their duty
They do?
firearm.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Valcarro?
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay?
Yes.
Council President Testa?
Yes.
Mayor Snyder?
Yes, and just to clarify, Donald, one step further, the problem with not having them both is then they have to qualify with both sets of firearms. So
Okay.
by keeping them consistent, they only have to go to the
So
range
one
and qualify
time.
once.
Okay.
Item number 4 is to approve a payment to Tulane Contracting for work completed on the Route 57 pump station project, the amount of $128,595.80 pursuant to the USDA approval. Mr. Sturbins?
Yeah, subject to Mr. Madden's approval, he's our sewer engineer. This invoice should be authorized for payment.
Questions or comments, Mr. Sturbins? And subject to Mr. Mann's approval? Motion?
Motion.
Second? Discussion? Roll call?
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Valcarro?
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay?
Yes.
Council President Testa?
Yes.
Mayor Snyder?
Yes. Items number 1 through 11, if everyone could review them, reflect the consent agenda. Several items from the collector's office. Couple redemptions, refund, request from Larkin to release a bond. Mr. Sturbins, anything further you want to add on it?
I'm recommending that the performance guarantee be released subject to the conditions on my September 24th letter.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on a particular item or a request to remove it? Motion on items 1 through 11.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman O'Carroll.
Yes.
Councilwoman McKee.
Yes.
Council President Tesla.
Yes.
Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Announcements. Halloween is Thursday, October 31, 2014. Does that mean trick or treat is Thursday?
Yes.
We all know Halloween.
Yes, trick or treating.
Actually, that's the 30th, Beth.
Friday.
Thursday,
Friday.
30th.
Friday is
Yeah,
the
Thursday is
So
31st.
which day is trick or treat? Thursday?
Friday.
Friday. All right.
Yeah, it's Friday.
So trick or treat.
Trick or treat.
All right.
Yeah.
It's Friday,
Okay.
October 31.
Yes.
31.
Still 5:30 to 7:30.
Stuff 5:37. All right, we're good. Trick or treat, Friday, October 31, 2014, 5:37. Council reports, please. I'm sorry, just a minute.
DPW, we have leaf pickup. The schedule is posted on the website. It's subject to change due to emergencies, weather conditions, and the DPW supervisor's discretion if there's any changes that need to be made. It's starting the week of October 6th, and leaves only, folks, please. No brush, garbage, grass clippings, garden or flower clippings, just leaves. And the county roads actually need to bag their leaves. They must be bagged. Our guys will not be taking those off the street. They have to be bagged. And it looks like fall cleanup was a success due to the overloaded dumpsters that were out in the parking lot. So thanks to all, got rid of all their stuff. For the Board of Education, the last meeting, we had a little bit of fun watching the ALS bucket challenges being done by our superintendent, Ms. Roccaroni. She got a nice big bucket of ice dumped over her. And also administration, the teachers. It was a really cute thing to watch. They videotaped everything. All the elementary school teachers lined up outside, and they picked a child from their class, and they dumped water over their heads. My daughter was actually involved in that. She was a little skittish because it was only the first few days of school. She didn't know her teacher. She was afraid to do it, but they did it, and it was really a really nice thing to do. And their donations speak so much for who we have on our Board of Education. So that's it for my reports. I do have just a small bit of old business that still has yet to be taken care of. Our March 11th meeting minutes and video still have not been posted on our website. I have asked quite a few times, and I'm just a little bit concerned as to why they are not up. I've also asked for a copy of the spreadsheet that was produced that evening. So here we are in October, and March is still not up. I'd like maybe some clarification on that.
I'm also the web person for the LAA, and they had a lot of problems this month. And actually, I was talking to Katrina, and just didn't have enough time to convert the video. It takes a few hours, so I'm getting to it. I do this, free of charge for the town and for the LAA. And like I said, their website was not working, so that was the first priority.
Thank you.
Yeah, actually, the first priority is for the taxpayers.
Well, they're both good taxpayers.
Yeah.
It's an unfair statement. She
Well,
does it on her own.
When
for
it gets
free.
done, she gets it done.
Well,
If we want to pay
I've been-
somebody to do it, we can pay somebody to do it.
I've been asking for quite a bit of time, and,
Well, she
it
just
just really
explained
should
to you
be
why
up.
it wasn't done. To suggest that it's, what's the comment that you made? It's sort of obnoxious.
I don't,
That it's a taxpayer thing, that's fine.
It
Like I
is.
said, so it's the alternative is to spend taxpayer money and have somebody do it.
well,
So the fact of the matter is, she said she's working on it. I'm
Okay.
quite sure that it'll get posted. If it's not posted soon, if we want to hire somebody to go out and do it, then we can do that. But in the meantime, we have someone who's volunteering to do it, and but for one meeting, has done a pretty good job of putting everything else up there. And I do know for a fact, since I deal with the LAA on a fairly regular basis, that she's done a good job of taking care of that stuff for them too. So to sit here and suggest that one meeting in a vacuum of, how long have you been doing it?
Almost 2 years.
2 years is a little unfair.
Paying for stuff
And
for myself.
quite frankly, a little bit out of line. So, again, when you have a volunteer, in my experience, it's usually nice to say thanks and appreciate the effort rather than to throw stones at her for not putting a single meeting up. I know we talked about the spreadsheet, and don't know where the spreadsheet ended up because it was somebody else's personal work product when they took it and left. It wasn't part of it. It wasn't a township document. So I don't know where the particular spreadsheet would get to, but,
It's a little bit confusing as to why April and May and June and July minutes were all put up, but March 11th specifically was not.
Well, she
Put up.
indicated that she'll get them up, and we'll get them up as soon as
I
possible.
was doing the regular meetings. I wasn't even sure what we were going to do with a workshop like that. I didn't get any direction from anyone. Like I said, it'll get up.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I also would like to, in past conversations, you said if you could find the minutes, if you could find the video, you've not really been very transparent as to where where you stand with that. I just,
I don't know how much more transparent a person could be other than to say that she'll put them up there and she's doing it to volunteer time. I'm not going to sit there and make this a personal attack on anybody, Donna. If you have any other comments?
I'm not
that you wanna
making it a
make,
personal attack. I
if you have any
am,
other comments that you want to make relevant to
well, I
the
do.
town's business, let us know.
I do.
That's as far as we're going to go, and so far as
Okay.
throwing stones
Well,
at another council member.
It is town business, and I do have an Oprah request for that particular document, since no one seems to be able to find that document. So maybe by handing in an Oprah request, that will,
The township document.
it was
Can we talk about it?
produced at the meeting, which makes it a township document.
It doesn't make it a township document. What makes it a township document is it's required to be made or maintained by the township. So file your request, council will look at it, and we'll deal with it. So, is that it?
No, it is a township document. It was produced at a
Well,
township
the person who's
council
going to
meeting.
determine whether it's a council document is the attorney that reviews them, time that they review them. So while I appreciate your opinion, it's simply that, your opinion. We'll deal with the legal opinion when it comes back.
Well, you are picking and choosing what you're putting on the website, so you're making decisions for the taxpayer, which are not in their
I'm not
best
picking and
interest.
choosing.
I do have copies of the minutes if anyone is interested, I'd be glad to pass them out or to get you a copy if you so choose to want to see them. Thank you.
Great. Okay.
Route 57 pump station is on schedule to be completed by the end of November. We had a couple bumps, which was taken care of. So they're just probably backdated about a week or two, but we're still on schedule. And then this part is over. That's it.
Mr. McKay?
Yeah. First off, Lou and I are working on the CFO replacement. So we're in the process of reviewing some resumes. We have some meetings scheduled in the upcoming weeks, and we hope to make a decision. I don't want to say when in case we don't do it, but as soon as possible. So we're working on it. Secondly, EDAC. We do not have a meeting this month. However, our work is continuing as far as we're working on this card, and we're meeting with local businesses to see if they want to participate in this discount card offer. It's going to be like a credit card type document that you would go into the business, and if the business is partaking, they may say, oh, 10% off your purchase, or something like that, whatever they're going to agree to if they want to participate. And in light of that, we're going to need some money in order to order these cards. So I would like to, I guess I have to make a motion to request some funds from the general fund to be, I guess, transferred over to us, or however it would work. I think we need about $500. The cards themselves to make are about $170. There's design fees of about $50 to $100. And then any excess funds that we would have, we would keep and apply them to, we're planning to have a future networking event for the businesses in Lopatcong. We don't know when. We're sort of, trying to iron out the details. And in the long run range, we also want to do a town brochure and get information out about Lopatcong out there to say, look, here we are. We're this little town out here. Come set up business here and look what we're close to and look what we're near and things like that. Do I make a motion to ask for money? I'd like to make a motion to request $500 be transferred over to EDAC. I'm not sure the procedural part of it, but so I need somebody to second that.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Any questions?
Yeah, I'm just not, the procedure for buying, you don't need a purchase order first or a quote? a direct quote before you?
I have a quote, I have a handwritten quote here, which, yes, it was, about $170 for thinking of ordering 500 cards, and then there's design fees of another $50 to $100.
Yeah, no, I heard all that. I just didn't, okay, I just didn't know how, if you
Okay.
were reading off of, just a paper, if you were reading off of a quote that you got from the,
It's a quote that I got from them, but it's,
okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Thank you.
They're an approved vendor too, correct?
oh, good. And then, again, anything extra, we would apply to some future events that we hope to plan. Secondly, I did attend a Chamber of Commerce meeting, network event in Phillipsburg last.
Oh, yeah, we
What?
gotta vote.
sorry. Busy with this one. Roll call, please.
Oh, yeah.
Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman O'Hara.
Yes.
Councilman McKee.
Yes.
Council President Chesler.
Yes.
Yes.
Great, thank you. Lastly, I attended a Chamber of Commerce networking event in Phillipsburg. The Chamber of Commerce is, I don't think Lopatcong belongs to this yet. I'm not sure that we do, but their goals are,
Warren County Chamber.
oh, okay, we're part of Warren County, okay. Their goal is to highlight and advertise local businesses and try to increase foot traffic and try to increase sales, things like that, and make it known where they are, things like that. So we may try to incorporate having that, I guess it's Lehigh Valley Chamber of Commerce, come and talk to our business owners and see if there's anything they can do to help us or any ideas to bring in new businesses. In my discussions with residents and with the business owners that I've been talking to, some of them are coming up with some ideas of like, you know what, we could use some maybe commercial recreation type businesses out here. That would be a great draw for Lopatcong. It would increase traffic. It would increase, people coming into the town, and then, of course, taking advantages of the businesses that are already here. Another suggestion was, in my talking to senior citizens, them stating that, there's not a lot of senior citizen housing in this town, and that one of the things they would like to see is possibly a development for senior citizens or for assisted living, because again, we don't have much of it. I think, we have Clymer Village over there, and what I've been told is it's a long wait if you want to try to move into that building. So part of, our thought is that maybe we can look at our zoning to see if we can add things in like commercial recreation or possibly assisted living, and see, what areas we could add those into. This might be a good time to look at, our uses and maybe make some changes for potential future developments.
This would probably be a good time to look at our industrial uses as well, as we stated we wanted to do.
Right. We received our report from our planner, and I think maybe we can re-examine our industrial uses. We have the reports, and maybe we can make some changes there. Again, to make sure we include, businesses that we see would be potential and beneficial to our town. So,
Does that need to go before zoning?
that's a good question. To re-examine,
To look at the
I don't know,
ordinances?
zoning or a
to add the change?
planning board, maybe?
Yeah, just as far as the Highway Business District, which is on Route 22, that zone does allow commercial indoor and outdoor recreation uses.
Okay.
The ROM district, which is predominantly along Strikers Road, as well has some frontage on Route 22, does not permit that. That's a typical use that is permitted in an industrial zone. I know Hackettstown allows that in their industrial zone. That's one example. So that would just be a matter of adding, a permitted principal use. It's a very easy change to the ordinance. You probably the thing to do would be to send a letter to the planning board and ask them for the recommendation on that.
Okay, all right. Maybe I'll take the lead on that and try to get something over. I'll discuss. All right, thank you. Thanks, Paul. That's all I have.
All right, let me start with the LAA. At our first home game, we honored two of our retired LAA directors, Corinne Snymus and John Donnelly. John Donnelly has moved out of the area, so he wasn't present. He, I think, was probably one of our longest directors. Corinne was right behind him. They put in about 6 to 8 years each. And did an amazing job. They did it well after they had children in the program. They coached teams when they didn't have children on them. And they really brought the programs to where they are now. So they were presented with proclamations, and we just have to mail John's to him. Also, I wanted to recognize that the LAA did an ALS challenge themselves, and they raised over $500 for that. And just wanted to say that was thank you for doing that. It's a very good cause, and you know, they even made a really nice video. It's out there if you look at it. Soccer Fest is this weekend, October 4th and 5th, up at the soccer fields here. It's a big event, and it's a nice fundraising event for soccer too. They're having a good season. Football's having a very good season. Also, the LAA, in conjunction with the recreation program, is planning a community service project. Primarily, we want the LAA athletes to give back to the community, but it's open to adults, it's open to high schoolers, whatever. I've been working with the principal to try to get some high school involvement in town too, so this is one of the things that they could do. We're going to, I believe it's the weekend of the 24th, 25th, we're going to put out a flyer and see if we can do some leaf raking and yard work for our seniors, disabled, veterans, infirm, anyone who might need the help. And this will go along with our leaf cleanup. So this is something that the kids used to do a lot years ago, and we just want to give back because we know that the community shares the burden of our recreation fields, and we just want to give back to everybody. For recreation, I would like to invite the engineer to one of our meetings upcoming soon, because we're looking for, now that we have Community Day behind us, which thank you for everybody who attended and helped. It was a big success. We want to discuss a safer access to the park for bikers and walkers, and we found a little road that the township owns that we might be able to get them to cross at a better place on Belvedere. Also, we want to just discuss the possibility of if we could put in a dog park somewhere in town, because apparently it seems like 80% of the residents own a dog, and everybody wants to go out and socialize with their dog. So I'll reach out to you, Paul, to see when you can come. We're also working on the calendar. Thank you, Gary, for giving me your template. I have almost all the pictures from the photo contest, and I should have that all together and available for purchase in November. One of our winners is here, Mr. Taggart, with his beautiful pictures. Thank you. Technology. We've been very busy. Right now, I'm going through with the tax collector, we're going through actual demos from the online payment vendors. We're not only looking just at cost to the township, cost to the residents, but we need to make sure that it's not going to increase their work burden, that it's actually going to decrease her work burden. So, you know, she'll actually have less work, and maybe she won't have to be here at all hours of the night trying to catch up. We have one scheduled, we did one, and we have another one. So by our next meeting, I should have a recommendation to council and all the pros and cons of the three. We've talked to all of them, and as long as we decide by December, we can have it in place for first quarter 2015. I think this will be a big help, especially for sewer bills. Because I know a lot of mortgages pay your taxes like I do, but, you know, that's one thing. Your sewer bill, you get the little card, and you pay that, and there's no way to do it except bring it here or mail it. We had several problems with the LAA website, one being that it didn't work altogether. I had about 4 help desk tickets open. I'm down to 1, but we were right in the midst of basketball and wrestling signups, so it was a high priority to get that up and running. It's now, I've gotten through this several times with our vendor, and it's working. We just have a few little things left to fix. So everything's a little behind because I spent a lot of time on that. So catching up with the other projects that I have going on. Another hot topic in town is our sewer fees. A lot of people don't quite understand how your sewer bill is derived. So I'm working on a council corner piece with Betty and Rachel to explain how your sewer charges are generated. And we're also going to offer you tips to save money. One thing I've also been looking into is using, one of the things people wanted was email and text notifications for things besides emergencies. We have free use of Rapid Notify for emergencies because of Merrill Creek, because we're in that area where if something should happen to the reservoir, they need to get us out of here. So we're allowed to use that free of charge for emergencies. For non-emergencies, we're now looking into Nixle. I have to, Betty has the figures on that, but that would be, so if you wanted updates on, you know, when Community Day is, or when, you know, any other kind of events we have in town, or it can even be traffic incidents, stuff like that, depending on how much we want to use it. For the newsletter, I know we didn't really assign anyone to it, but I did receive a package, which I can, if anyone wants to look at it after. They put together these really nice newsletters, very professional. What happens is they get sponsorships, the company gets sponsorships to pay for it, so it's no cost to the township at all. So I'm trying to get a bunch of different ideas together. Since this is no cost, it also goes kind of hand in hand with EDEC trying to promote our business, because they can advertise in here. And we would only be responsible for mailing them, but we don't even have to incur that cost because they send us a PDF. So we can post it, we can email it, and then we can just, the printed copies that they give us, we can just leave them in strategic places in town. Loss control. One of the things I've been talking to our risk manager about is to come in and provide some loss control training. This is something that's provided through our insurance, and it usually helps you eliminate risks. So they can come in and go over DPW equipment and safety, workplace harassment, sexual harassment, and how to deal with things like when it's an employee or a customer, little things like that. It helps us with our insurance rating, and I think it's a good benefit for the township and the employees. And then just looking ahead to next year, we have a scheduled replacement for our police vehicle, so we kind of know where we're going with that. We now have some information from the fire department, and I also asked DPW to project out the next 5 years of their replacements, and the EMS is going to do that too, just so we can kind of, because we have the tax appeal bond that's going to be with us for 5 years, we need to be strategic going forward. And that's all I had.
Thank you. We're going to be meeting on October 14th. It's a Tuesday, most likely in the afternoon, based on everyone's availability to deal with some things, because Betty was not here today. Most specifically, the best practices worksheet. That's the worksheet that the DCA puts out every year, that we're required. The questionnaire that the DCA puts out every year that the council is required to respond to in order to qualify for what little state aid they give us. Although it's not a small number, it's about $200,000.
It's almost $1 million.
$1 million. What's that issue? I guess it's a couple $100,000 with some of the questions that we need to address. One of which is impacted by the police department's collective bargaining agreement. So in order to have some questions answered that came up during executive session, as they may relate to our ability to answer certain questions on the best practices worksheet, we need Betty and or Dave to be here. In order to do that, the first available date in order to get notice out to the public is October 14th. So there will be a meeting on October 14th, most likely sometime in the mid to late afternoon, based on everyone's availability. Next, on the best practices worksheet, there's an opportunity to gain points by creating a finance committee consisting of members of the council and the chief financial officer to discuss and review financial issues impacting the township. It's an advisory committee, so its opinions and recommendations are non-binding. They're created in advisory capacity. And therefore, there are no other requirements insofar as its meeting. However, it's important that we appoint one in order to gain the points available to us on the DCA's worksheet. Ms. Schneider and Ms. Chesler volunteered to participate on that committee with Ms. Dobes. So I'll make those appointments now. Next, we have a request from Ms. Dobes to hire Phoenix advisors in response to an SEC mandate that's come out, and in order for us to be in compliance with it, well, I guess I'll defer to Ms. Campbell by way of a further explanation. But my understanding that they have a flat rate proposal for a review of documents in order for us to be, I guess, in compliance with the SEC regs, correct?
Yes, the SEC and financial markets are clamping down on local government issuers of outstanding debt. And so actually we got a local finance notice from VCA, and the first sentence says, "This notice is intended to give you fair warning." And so basically they're calling it the Municipal Continuing Disclosure Cooperation Initiative. And the very, very brief overview of it is that we need to be monitoring the people who are giving us our bonds. And there's certain things that the town doesn't necessarily have the capacity to go out, or even our bond counsel. So many towns have been receiving letters from their bond counsel recommending that they get an advisor who can do this. And basically this cooperative initiative is giving you an opportunity to self-identify past non-compliance and fix it. And if you don't, then you're going to be, and get it right going forward. But so basically it's not something the town did or didn't do. It's the people who issue the bonds, and it's the paperwork that needs to be done. And so this company, they have issued, we received 2 proposals. They are on the Morris County Cooperative, so this is a competitive contract. It's a flat fee of $950 to review and research all of our past, any open bond. This also, we need to do this in order to do any bond anticipation notes or issue any bonds in the future. And then there's a $650 fine to actually file all the paperwork. And that includes up to 3 or 4 issues. So if you go beyond that, there's like $100 for each additional issue, but they'll bring those to you as they come in. But so you're looking at about $1,600 for this. And this has been recommended both by your bond counsel and by your auditor. And I've reviewed the agreement and the proposal. I'm okay with you signing it.
Great. Motion,
Motion.
second,
Second.
discussion.
Just a quick, we did have 2 proposals that we looked at. So we didn't just get one and go with it. We did have 2.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilman Del
Yes.
Councilwoman McLean.
Yes.
Council President Shelton.
Yes.
Motion.
Yes. Next, we need to appoint a conflict assessor for Sycamore Landing. The assessor has a conflict insofar as her ability to address the rollback tax issue. The township will be receiving, I believe, Kathy, $304,423 in rollback taxes associated with that property. But in order to have it administrated, it's necessary to hire a conflict assessor. You have a recommendation, Ms. Campbell, I believe, somebody out of county.
Yes, James, I'm going to butcher his last name. Thank you. Angelino. He is the assessor in Paramus. Also a whole host of other, I researched him, Ordell, Creskill, Englewood, I think. Do you have the list I sent you? But there was 5 or 6 of them, but I think Paramus is his main place. But he's in Bergen County. He's not a Warren County assessor. We thought it was best to leave the county. And he has reviewed all of the comps, and he has signed the rollback paperwork. And the official amount is $304,423.
Great.
Oh, and I'm sorry, and we just asked me to authorize the payment of $100.
$100
To him.
Motion,
Motion.
second,
Second.
discussion.
I have a question. How did this whole rollback thing come about? Is it just, how did that happen?
Yes, the property, Sycamore Landing property, I don't know if you're familiar with
Yep.
where it is. It was being farmed. As of this year, I believe there may even still be some farming going on, but they didn't file their FA1 form, which is a farmland assessment paperwork. It was due as of August 1st. I assume the reason they're doing that is they hope to break ground soon and start building. Had they started building or not filed their paperwork, either one prompts that. So they didn't do that for August of this year. So 2014 is the year that there's a change in use, and then they go back 2 years. So the taxes that that 304 is rollback taxes for 2012, 2013, and 2014. So each year, so there's a new assessment for each one, a total. I give you a total, but I be happy to show you the figures for all of them so you can see it.
That's okay. Does the assessor, does she monitor the properties that are being farmed? Is that how that works?
Yes.
Is that how you find
Yes.
out? that-
Every year, it's
Okay.
a very strict deadline. Every
Okay.
year, August 1st, I mean, you have to be on your deathbed to not submit that thing by August 1st. And even then, they give you a month if you're on your deathbed. It's
Okay.
literally that ridiculous. So she gets them, and then she can go out and inspect the various farms and make sure that they're doing what they say they're doing, or they have to
Okay.
give a woodland management plan if it's a wooded property
Okay.
that has a plan. And she reviews all of those. And so if she thinks anything is suspicious, and then, like, so for example, if you bought a piece of property that used to be a farm,
Mhm.
sometimes this happens. People buy a piece of property and it used to be a farm, and they're like, I'm going to build my house here, and they get a rollback for 2 years. And the property owner sold it to them, did mention that they used
Okay.
to farm it, they had farm it. So
Okay.
that's why you
Got
hire attorneys to check those things. You can blame them. But so that's what it is. It's,
Okay. Okay.
that's what triggered it, and so.
Got it.
And
Okay.
then from here on out, it will be assessed, and then once they start building, as they finish buildings, they will get, they'll get assessed for their improvements. And at that point, most likely we'll be coming back to you, asking you to approve more work for this particular conflict assessor. But at this point, we were just asking for the rollback, because
Okay.
we're not sure how those buildings are going to come in, if they're going to be one at a time or a whole project at once. So we
Okay.
figure we'll wait to see what the scope of the work is, ask him for a quote, and then come back.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Okay, so, motion, we have a motion, we had a second, discussion, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman O'Hara?
Yes.
Councilwoman Page?
Yes.
Council President Chesler?
Yes.
Mayor Snyder?
Yes. I'm going to digress for a couple of minutes. I apologize, but I'm obligated, personally compelled to address something that came up last month. Mr. Imhoff was here and made a little statement that in not uncharacteristic fashion mixed in apples and oranges and reds and blues and got his facts entirely twisted and contorted. I invited him to come back and told him that I would certainly go through his math between last meeting and this meeting, and I want to make sure I keep my promise. So I've transcribed Mr. Imhoff's statement from last meeting. I'll hit the highlights, and then I brought with me, it's a little small, it's as big as we can blow it up, but there's a little chart here that shows some numbers and so forth. I'll go through them, and I'll leave them out here on the table if anybody wants to read them. Joe came last month and made a statement in response to a statement that Ms. Chesla made regarding the little pie chart that reflects the amount of everybody's tax bill. And what she indicated was that the amount of the municipal taxes on our tax bill represents 17% of your total taxes. Then Mr. Imhoff came up and made a little spectacle speech in which he indicated that by his math, the amount of his taxes went up far more than that. In fact, 143%, 61% of the total of his increase in his taxes over 8 years was just the municipal portion of the tax bill. Then he went year from year, indicating how much it went up each particular year. And he made some statement about his Social Security benefits not going up that much, and then indicated over the past 9 years, the mayor Steinhardt has been the one constant, because he was going from 2006 to 2014. I know Mr. Mangucci was in the back of the room that night too, and listening to Mr. Imhoff's presentation. But the interesting comment that he made was that costs must therefore be out of control. In fact, he said, costs must be out of control. So the problem is threefold. He's talking about three different things and mixing them all together. First, let's talk about the pie chart. The pie chart reflects, and that pie chart is that little chart that you see that shows that the open space tax is a certain percentage of your tax bill, the county tax is a certain percentage of your tax bill, the municipal tax is a certain percentage of your tax bill. And from 2008 until 2006, rather, to 2014, that amount has gone from 9% to 17%. And that reflects the amount that is collected or raised by taxes. And he suggested that that number is somehow a poor reflection on our ability to manage the township. I would respectfully disagree with him and suggest that that number is a reflection on the dwindling state aid that comes to every municipality. And I'll point to a couple examples. Starting in, the number began, so we know, the amount to be raised by taxes was roughly $2 million when he started, and ended up in this year, $4.1 million, $4,151,000 $2,546.88. And back in 2008, it was $2,002,069.40. Now, what's happened is over that course of time, that's the amount of money that we have to raise by taxes, not the amount of money that it costs to operate the town. That's the town's budget. That's the part that we introduce every March, debate back and forth, and then vote on. I'll get to that in a minute. But the amount to be raised by taxes is what goes out to all of you, and that you guys then have to dip into your pockets to pay back. We have very little control over the amount to be raised by taxes, other than what we deal with a particular budget. And for example, in 2009 and 10, the year after Mr. Imhoff started his presentation, the town, Lopatcong and Blairstown, in fact, were the only two towns to get completely wiped out of the consolidated municipal tax relief. We went from getting a double-digit percentage to getting none. We also got wiped out of our energy receipt taxes after Governor Christie got elected and got rid of the energy tax relief that came back to the various towns, thereby causing the amount to be raised by taxes to go up from 2008 to 2009 by $200,000. It went up again the following year when the DCA checklist came out and they started to regulate how much money each town gets based on the answers to various checklists. From 2.2 to 2.4. The following year, it went from 2.4 to 2.5. Then between 2011 and 2012 is when we had the reassessment. And if you recall, that's when the town's value dropped from $1 billion to $800 million. We lost $200 million in assessed value. And the amount to be raised by taxes jumped from 2.5 to 3.1 to offset the monies that were coming in from the town's value, or the dip in the town's value. The following year, it went from, from 12 to 13 based on the same issue. The town's value dropped from 3.1 to 3.6 to 3.7, and then the following year to 4.1. And that's where it stands today, the amount to be raised by taxes. And that's the pie chart that Ms. Chesler was referring to as it increased from year to year based on the town's reduction in state aid coming to us from the state of New Jersey. Now, let's talk about the municipal budget. So again, when she said that the amount to be raised, the amount that the township deals with is 17% of your tax bill, that was entirely accurate based on the fact that we're dealing with the amount to be raised by taxes. Now, let's talk about the piece that was thrown specifically at me dealing with the township's budget. Me and by association, I guess, Mr. Mancucci was sitting in the back of the room, and Mr. Curry was kind enough to wander in and had been here at council back then. In 2006, the township's operating budget was $5.8 million. And I had Betty go back and pull each budget from 2006 to 2014. I'll go through each of the numbers with you. But in 2006, the township's operating budget was $5.8 million. In 2007, it dropped to $5.7 million. Without rounding, it was a reduction of $64,536, or a reduction of 1.11% from the 2006 to 2007 operating budget. 2008, the budget went up to $6.1 million, again rounding, an increase of $341,000, or 5.89%. In 2007, the town's budget went from $6.1 to $6.2 million, an increase of $133,226, or 2.17%. In 2010, it increased from 6.2 to 6.4, $193,353, an increase of 3.9%. In 2011, we had a drop of 6.4 to $6,407,316 in that year's budget, a drop of 6.73%. Then we had the assessment change when the town's value dropped at $200 million, and we had to pick up the shortfall as a result of that town's drop in value. Because what happens is the town's value is multiplied by the tax rate, and we figure out, therefore, how much money we need to make our operating budget. What happened is the budget there for that year jumped from $6 million to $7 million, and we struggled to figure out a way to offset that $1 million increase that we had to take on that particular year. The budget jumped $974,815 for us to tackle the $200 million decrease in the town's value. So that following year, after an exceptional amount of work, we reduced the budget by $521,000 to $6.5 million, a reduction of 8.03%. This past year, between 2013 and 2014, we added $515,491 to the budget to get us back to $7,016,837. That's the budget that we currently have on the table today. Reflects roughly $500,000, as every council member up here will tell you, in capital improvements, purchases of equipment, improvements to some road work that we're doing. So we took advantage of the opportunity that we could get some work done, and we added $500,000 to the budget this year. So during that same period of time, we added roughly $500,000 for the work done on Lopatcong Park, which increased our budget significantly, almost by half of that $1.2 million difference between 2006 and 2012. An asset which I think everybody in this room uses and would be proud of. But in response to Mr. Imhoff, who didn't show up today, in 2006, the amount that Mr. Mangucci, Mr. Curry, Mr. Baker, Mr. Camperine, and I administered from this dais was $5.8 million. In 2014, that number is $7 million. And I will submit to you that it's a result of the $500,000 that we just threw in this year, the loss of the $200 million in value that we had between 2011 and 12, and the fact that we did Lopatcong Park and several other road improvements throughout that period of time. That $1.2 million change swing between 2006 and 2014 represents a 19.89% change in the town's overall operating budget during that 8-year time period. Now, not to pick, that's a far cry from the 143% that Mr. Imhoff was swinging around in the room last month, based on, honestly, combining 3 different things into one math problem. I will also, without picking on the school board, since they're here, point out to you that in 2006, the school board's budget was $14,126,662, and in 2014, it's $18,256,928, which is an increase of 29.23%. So I would suggest to you that our 19% sort of pales in comparisons to the school board's 29%. And again, you guys do a wonderful job. Congratulations. I think you educate our children great for the money that you have available to you. I would suggest to you that this council has done an exceptional job during not only my tenure, but the tenure of the other 4 council members sitting up here to manage the funds available to us. And one other little tidbit with which I will leave you, if you go back and take away the $200 million, add back the $200 million that we lost in 2012 for the reval, and use the same value of $1,051,382,339 as a township's value, our tax rate, instead of going from 2.049 to 2.761, would only have jumped from 2.049 to 2.271, and that 19.89% would actually only be 10.9%. So I would suggest to you that this council has done an exceptional job. I take exception to Mr. Imhoff's funny math, and wish he would be here today to have this discussion in person, but maybe he'll show up next month and we can talk about it again then. So that said, that's the story on the budget. Feel free to look at the worksheet when you're done, and that's it for council reports. So where did we leave off? Tax collector is not here. CFO is not here. Mr. Sturbis.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to report to the public and the council that there was a pre-construction meeting for the South 3rd Street Improvement Project on September 23rd. It appears that the contractor will be starting on Monday, October 13th. I'm going to confirm that tomorrow, and I will let all the council members know after I have that meeting with the contractor tomorrow. Given the schedule that we've laid out in the specifications, the contractor would have to be completed by November 20th, before Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Motion to approve department reports.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Montanaro?
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay?
Yes.
Council President Tresvant?
Yes.
Yes. Pay bills.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Montanaro?
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay?
Yes.
Council President Tresvant?
Yes.
Yes. Folks, questions, comments? I'm ready for this.
Marty Swim, 4 Byron Drive. I just have a couple easy questions. Lori and all that
You have to
listed.
direct it to
All
Mayor
right.
Simon.
Lori listed a flyer and said they put it together, and I totally missed who they were.
Which flyer?
The one with all the ads in it.
No.
You had
Newsletter
a
stuff.
newsletter.
Oh,
Yeah, when you said they, I didn't know who it was.
It's,
Again,
yeah, we're looking at
Even though we're
vendors.
dealing with,
Couple of
public
different
comment, we'll go ahead and take some questions, Mr. Swim. So what do you got on who they is?
Okay, that was the first question. I can ask another one.
What's that? Who's they?
Oh, it's just,
You know who they is.
yeah, and they're not, I haven't committed to
There's
anything.
a few of them.
Yeah, yeah, that's.
All right, let's start with
Question on that
some
specific issue. but that's just a
Go ahead.
question I had. Thank you.
questions. Well, excuse me, not questions, comments.
Oh, leave us again. Well, it's a question. The sale of public property, why would that be an executive session?
Contractual.
So it's you're talking,
The township owns property, and we're considering selling it. So when we discuss the terms, whether we want to sell it, how we were going to sell it,
How we value it,
okay.
wouldn't it?
I gave them a memo about the process to do it, and
It's-
also potential values for them.
We're going to do it again at that meeting in October, where we can deal with it, in more specifically in the public session. It's just that Katrina gave us a memo today, and none of us had a chance to read it, so we wanted an opportunity to take a look at it.
Okay.
Yeah, Ms. Hall.
Ryan?
Mine is twofold. Number one, thank you very much for having the cleanup at the solar farm. Looks better, and I just want to make that public notice. The second thing is a question that I had addressed previously about the stop signs at Baltimore. I think this is great for the four-way, but if you remember, I had asked about if we could have the larger stop signs. Is that going through on this one?
The ordinance just allows for stop signs to be placed there. A decision as to how large the signs would be made after the ordinance is adopted. If it's a standard stop sign is 30 inches by 30 inches, but in certain instances, if warranted, you can make the stop sign larger. It could be 36 by 36. So that's an
Oh, I did it, yeah.
engineering decision and something I would work with the police department on.
So I'm a little confused. Do I bring that up again when this goes through the ordinance, or is that through you?
You've made your opinion noted that it should be a bigger stop sign. I don't know if I agree with that, but once we get the ordinance adopted and then approved by the DOT, I will see if it's warranted to have a larger stop
Okay.
sign there, something bigger than 30 inches by
Also
30
because
inches.
the daycare is right on the corner too.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Vaughan.
Andy Vaughan, 13 Windsor Lane. Having been involved with the LEA as a coach and now director for about a decade. When coaching, there's something that we call a compliment sandwich that we learned about, that if you have a problem with one of your players, you start off with something positive, then maybe something negative, and end up with something positive. So, because of what was said to Council President Chesla, I did want to thank her for her assistance with the website, because I had asked her for assistance with the LA website, because we were having difficulty with it, and when you have signups and it's not working properly, it becomes a disaster. So I wanted to thank the Council President Chesla for all the time and effort with the website. Thank you.
Thanks. Yes, sir.
My name's Tony Walters.
Mr. Walters, how are you this evening?
Okay, yourself?
I'm well, thank you.
I live on South Third Street.
Yes, sir.
They're going to start construction.
Yes, sir.
Can I have permission to park one of my vehicles in the municipal lot here while they're working on the curb and the manhole out in front of my house?
Yeah, they can't drive over it for 3 days.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Thank you. What's up, Ryan? Okay, but there's not, we got like 40 spots.
I'm just letting you know.
Okay. All right. You might not get a prime spot, Mr. Walter, but there'll be one for you. All right. Anybody else tonight? Questions, comments? Motion to adjourn?
No, no.
What? Oh, I thought you were grabbing stuff. I was right there. Fire away. I thought you were coming up to pick papers.
Rainey Roncaroni, 11 Greystone Avenue. I just wanted to tell you that as part of our community outreach with the school district and as part of our strategic plan for our 5-year plan, we are hosting a senior breakfast on October 24th, which we are inviting the senior citizens in our community. And additionally, this year, we are extending it to community partnerships. So you have all received an invitation, and additional invitations will be at the municipal building.
Thanks, Ms. Roncaroni.
It's 9 o'clock at the middle school,
9 a.m.
October 24th.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I did miss one, and I apologize. I forgot to recognize Chief LaFord. Mr. Stiers, gentlemen, there is an issue with our engine, our fire engine, as opposed to our ladder or our pumper, and sort of rolled away out of the garage the other day. Mr. Stiers, being fleet of foot, jumped in and stopped it. So they would like to discuss with council their recommendations as relates to that fire truck. So why don't you guys start, fire away, and then we'll, if this council has questions, they can ask. So.
So as Mayor Steinhardt just mentioned, our 1997 engine, which is the truck that gets the water from the hydrant to the fire, is parked out on the truck apron down at Delaware Park. The driver set the parking brake, he got out, the truck started rolling away towards the house across the street. Assistant Chief Stiers jumped in and he was able to stop it. I don't know how he did it, but he did it, and he saved us from having a truck go into a house. So it's been an ongoing issue with the brake system. For the last 4 years, the brake system, we replaced the brakes on it, and this time it completely failed. So it was an issue that we knew about. Not that it was going to fail, but we knew that there was an issue with the brakes, we were going to get that fixed. The truck's due to be replaced in 2017, and there's an opportunity to get a demo vehicle right now at a considerable savings, so we approach council to replace the truck now due to recent event steps from taking justice.
What's the cost of the demo, Chief?
Cost of the demo is $415,000.
And what does demo mean to us lay people in the context of a fire engine?
It's just like a vehicle in a showroom. It gets displayed, it's taken to other fire departments to be shown, and that is it. There's no other wear and tear put on it. The pump's never been used.
It comes
titled. It's a brand new truck.
Assuming the town would purchase it, it would come with all its full warranties, et cetera?
Correct.
Okay. If I'm not mistaken, the ladder truck that we purchased was quote unquote a demo. In fact, I think it was in a TV show. Right? Yeah. The price again, I'm sorry, was for something?
14.
The price of the same vehicle new is what?
587.
587.
Last meeting, you presented us with a series of options from lease payments to outright purchase. We asked at the time that Ms. Phillips go back and explore another option that was between the $0 down payment and the $100,000 down payment at the effect of a $50,000 payment spread over the same term. She came back with that, and if I'm not mistaken, a recommendation as well to deal with it as a bond, where the bond interest rates were below, they were 0.5% a year, correct? Versus 3.whatever% a year over the same time period for a lease. 5 to 10 years versus 10 years on the bond. Okay. I believe there are also some requests of you guys of other information as relates to, well, actually, let me ask you this. What's the current status of the engine? Does the engine have a number?
7461.
All right, so the current status of 7461 is?
Out of service.
Okay. And may I ask how long it's anticipated it'll be out of service?
I was waiting for a relative answer of what we were going to do.
Okay. Has it been out of service at other dates during the course of this year?
Yes.
Okay. How about the preceding year?
Several times in the preceding years for regular maintenance, but along with
How about for non-regular maintenance related issues?
Yeah.
And what, good.
Brakes was 2012, 2013. Batteries exploded in the truck when trying to start. It falls in 2009 and 2015.
Where's that memo?
It's not a service for the pump getting repacked. It's not able to come out of truck as required in the exception.
Can't send stuff out here.
Usual exhaust, I don't know if anybody's heard, but the truck is extremely loud. The exhaust pretty much got it off, so it doesn't exactly have it. Muffler to slide it down. The truck now does leak oil. We can't get looked at to get a quote on fixing that because of the feature of the tablet showing up.
This is one of 3 cars in that fleet, correct? 3 trucks?
Yes, maybe stock rats.
Macy's.
Main
What
piece.
exactly does it do? I know it gets the water from the hydrant to the fire.
Yeah, the engine main responsibility is get water from the hydrant to the fire, so carries all our hoses. Those carry ground ladders. It also carries the extrication equipment. So when there's a motor vehicle accident with entrapment, the extrication services within the township. So it's a multi-purpose vehicle currently.
Well, out of curiosity, what are we doing in the department without the engine at the moment?
I have equipment spread out throughout the department.
Meaning what?
Some equipment on a utility truck, some equipment on a ladder truck, some equipment just not on any truck that we're maybe without it right now.
Okay, more significant, I guess, than that to me is what are you doing without that vehicle in your fleet of vehicles?
Right now, depending on mutual aid, if there's a structure fire, and if there's a motor vehicle accident or extrication, we're going to depend on postal emergency squad to come in with the rest of the truck.
The truck is 17 years old?
Correct.
What's the normal life of that vehicle in the departments? Are there regs or anything insofar as the normal life of the vehicle?
Lifespan of the engine or a ladder truck is 20 years.
So 3 years, closing in on the 20 years, or 3 years shot.
Correct.
Repair cost this year, is my understanding, up until the brake failure was approximately $7,000 through August. Does that sound about right? And in the years past, do you have a gauge of what it was been costing us for the relevant repairs?
Roughly 5 to 8,000.
Okay. And is that repairs and maintenance, or is that simply repair costs above and beyond the maintenance costs?
That's above and beyond the maintenance.
Okay. And we don't have a figure, any idea for what it's going to cost to make this most recent repair, correct? And does that alleviate or resolve the other issues that Assistant Chief Stiers referenced, the leaking oil? I don't remember what the other ones were. You gave a laundry list of other problems related to the engine.
No, that was
That's just to.
the brakes.
Now, when you presented this to council back on September, strike that, back in when would it have been? Yeah, September meeting. You had 3 options dealing with this demo truck where the payments varied. $50,000 a year, $38,000 a year, or $64,000 a year if we bought the new vehicle at $587,234. That's the 2014 as opposed to the 2 demos, correct? We went back and asked that she take a look at doing this. Betty recommended doing it as a bond to reduce the interest rate and the payment even further. In your professional opinion as a chief, what's the impact on the department? Some multiple questions, so write them down if you want. What's the impact on the department of not having that vehicle in our fleet? What potential hazards does it pose to the township if we don't have it? And thirdly, insofar as an option available to us, what's your recommendations as far as the 2 trucks is concerned and the timeliness of its acquisition?
The impact to the town, if we not replace the truck and go without an engine, it could impact our ISO rating, which is the Insurance Service Organization rating. So our rating would go down increase the homeowners' insurance premiums potentially. Right now, we get rated for each engine that we have in each ladder truck. We're going to remove the main piece engine. Our rating's going to definitely go down.
Is that based on population? How many you need?
No, it's based off square mileage
Okay.
and your water sources within the township. Luckily, Lopatcong Township has mostly hydrants. There's only very few sections of town that don't have hydrants that our community plan is tanking. That was your second question. Your
My
first
third,
question
yeah,
was-
my final question, though, Chief, is just I'm looking for your recommendation as, again, in your professional capacity as Chief of the Fire Department. What are you advising us of our need to provide for the township's safety, with that truck not presently in our fleet and its longevity, given the issues that you've represented it has?
You replace the truck with the demo truck. You'll have the demo truck within 30 days. Compared to buying a new truck, you're looking at at least 6 months lead time of it being made for us.
Cost would be 200,000 more,
Correct.
Right now.
300 to 150,000.
You have to replace it in 3 years, definitely, because 20 years it has to come off, correct?
Are there what other council members? I've done my share. Who has questions? So either Chief LaFord or Assistant Chief Stiers.
Let's
So
finish
the
up that one.
manufacturer of the fire truck has been out of business, correct?
Yeah, the current manufacturer, which is Central States, they were out of Lyons, South Dakota. They went out of business, and that is one issue that we're having with the parts and the brakes.
We're talking about the manufacturer of the existing engine, Chief?
Yeah.
Correct. They don't make them, the parts aren't made anymore, so we're going out and trying to get parts from different manufacturers to get them, on the truck to see if they work. We're piecemealing the truck together when parts that aren't working, obviously.
So every time this truck goes out, when it does work, it's like a flip of a coin.
Right.
Anything can go wrong.
I'm sorry, you finished?
No. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. We do have the other two trucks. We do, the one that you're wanting replaced is the pumper, and we do have another pumper.
Correct.
Does that pumper also have the extraction and everything else that this pumper has?
No.
What is it missing that this pumper has?
The extrication equipment, we only have the one set down at Delaware Park. I don't have a complete set at number 2, so that's one thing right there. Other than that, they do the same thing. And as far as firefighting wise, they get water and to the fire. So.
Okay. The ISO rating, if it were to not be replaced and we have 2 instead of 3, what monetary impact are we talking about?
That is up to each individual's insurance company. I don't know what that is.
Is there a way to find out?
But it would go up, is what you said.
Yeah, it would go up.
Right.
Because our town rating
But
went down.
Are we talking a couple $100s? Are we talking $10,000? I guess that's a,
Yeah, I don't know.
It's based on each individual insurance company and how they rate their policy, so you have to call. each
okay.
one.
So you'd have to call there and find out.
I mean,
Okay.
I would call my policy and see where it goes.
Okay. And also if, how many volunteers do we have right now in the fire department?
Between both roughly 30 to 35.
Okay. And how many actually respond to the calls? What's the ratio of, firefighters that respond to the fire calls?
During the daytime, 5 to 6 guys. At nighttime, when everybody's home from their jobs, they're looking at closer to 15 to 20.
Okay. So if there was a fire during the day, you wouldn't have enough guys to take all 3 trucks out.
Now, if there's a possibility, I mean,
Okay. And at night,
I think
15?
that's a totally different issue than replacing the apparatus.
Well, it's not, because if we had 2 trucks, or if we had 5 trucks and we only have 5 guys, then those other 3 trucks are deemed really not necessary. I'm not, with barring, not being a safety issue to the town, but if we don't have enough firefighters to man the trucks, then, they're just kind of sitting there because we don't have any firefighters to man the trucks. So,
Maybe we should go to a department then.
but that's, it's still if we don't have someone to manage the truck, then, why have
If it's a car accident, 61's gonna go to the car accident. If we don't have it right now, we're gonna rely on folks to come in and do our work.
for a car accident?
Correct.
Okay. And if you had 15 to 20 on call that all 15 showed up, how many times does that happen that all 15 has shown up?
I mean, is that relevant to the? Oh.
I'm not barring any safety issues, but I'm not saying that I don't want to go ahead with this purchase, but I don't have enough information right now to give you a yes on that. If we don't have 15 to 20 firefighters to man these trucks, then the expense right now is not, did we recruit more? Are we definitely going to get more firefighters? I'd like to know, and how many times the truck has gone out. There's so many of these issues I'd just like to know the answers to before I give a yes or a no.
I'd like to say that this fire truck has become a liability to the township. Not just a liability to the township, but also a liability to the volunteers who do respond in the truck. That who knows what could happen if the brakes were to fail in travels to a fall. So this is detrimental, not just to the volunteers on the truck, but the public and the liability being lawsuits to the township. So this is it's important, it's critical, and it's not a game to play with. But to find out how many volunteers actually answer the calls, it's a blessing to the town that you even have volunteers. If they go to paid volunteer fire department, paid fire department, you know what your taxes would be like? So be grateful that you have volunteers who are risking their lives. I can count the guys who are here right now that volunteer.
Well, listen, let me just say this. That's not true. There are occasions when I've gone out with our firemen, Sandy, other floods. That's just to go out and be helpful to these guys. I don't get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and go out and have to put a suit on. He's not here. Is he still here? Yes, sir. We have a former chief of a New York City fire department with us who's volunteered his time as a member of the Lopatcong Township Fire Department and was kind enough to take me on multiple occasions. In fact, if any of you guys have ever watched the documentary on September 11th, it was his fire department that was covered in the documentary from the day of 9/11. In any event, I've never had to put that suit on and walk into a burning building at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I've never had to put my life on the line and go out and do what these guys get up and they don't get paid to do. They just do it because they care about the township and the people who live here. Mr. Stiers is his second generation of doing that. His father was a former fire chief, recently passed away. His mother's a member of the auxiliary. He's been involved for almost as long as I've been in the township. Lou's father's involved in the fire company. His mother, his wife on the emergency squad. Besides being a member of the police department, he's chief of our fire company. He's on our EMS squad. And again, these guys put their lives on the lines for all of us to be safe. Not only have I not had to do that, I've never gone to the trainings that are required of these guys. And I think part of the reason why you don't find that many volunteers is one, people just aren't willing to give the time up that it takes to do it. And two, a lot of people don't have the time that it takes to go do it. The hours that it's required of these men and women to go to fire academies, to go to emergency squad trainings, to stay certified, is far more than I think any member of the public sitting in this room comprehends and obviously is willing to put out themselves. Otherwise, we'd have more than just 25 volunteers in the department. So when the chief of the department comes in and makes a recommendation to me as one of the 5 members here, that it's in our best interest to replace a piece of 17-year-old equipment that not only is needed for the town's safety, but the safety of the people using it. And it comes down to me to simply a matter of dollars and cents. Same analysis that I go through when Chief Marinelli comes and makes requests of us at the police department. I have no reason to doubt that or second guess it. I've never known our guys to be guys that just like to run around and jump in a fire truck for the fun of running around in a fire truck on a Saturday morning because they have nothing better to do. So I have no reason to doubt either Mr. Stiers or Mr. LaForge's credibility. They are recommending to us that it's an essential part of our department in order to maintain the town's safety. So consequently, I'm going to make the motion that we go ahead and move forward and do it on the basis of the bond that Ms. Doe's recommended, because it reduces the interest rate to us from roughly 3.5% a year to 0.5% a year. And we can certainly have more discussion if the motion gets a second, but I see no reason to debate that portion of it and the justification for their recommendation any further. If someone has a financial problem with it, that's up to them. Make whatever arguments you want. But insofar as the health, safety, and welfare of our residents are concerned, and the fact that we have more than enough money within that line item to cover the relatively nominal payment that will go along with leasing a demo fire truck as opposed to paying for repairs for a couple of years while we sit around and decide whether or not it's worth someone in the township's lives or one of our volunteers' lives while we debate it further. Just not worth it to me. So my motion, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion?
That's
Yeah.
why I asked for the projected needs from DPW and EMS and all that, so we can strategically plan, because we can't, if these machines are, if you didn't get that, like, it would have crashed into their house, so then we would have had that cost. And then if there was somebody in there, that's a big truck. You're not going to survive being hit by that thing. So that's why I asked, because we need to, over the next 5 years plan, we have to replace our equipment, so it's not a danger to the residents or to our employees as well.
I'd just like to say, safety absolutely is the number one issue for our residents here. Safety is definitely the top priority over money. What I would like is just some answers. It wouldn't be, I wouldn't be doing my job as a council person if I didn't ask some of these questions. This is a big purchase and this is your money that I'm spending. So to get some answers to these questions and even just put this off for a couple of days would, to make me feel comfortable saying yes to it would be great. But that's, I'm not saying no. I'm not saying yes. I'd just like some answers to the questions first.
Well, you're going to get a chance to say yes or no in about 2 seconds. So, roll call.
Councilwoman Schneider.
No.
Councilman Delcaro.
I'd like to say that it's simple economics. If you wait, it's going to cost a lot more. Yes.
Councilwoman McCabe.
I agree. Yes.
Council President Chesler.
Yes.
Mayor Snyder.
Yes. All right. Any other questions or comments before we're done? Commissioner Gucci.
I'd just like to make one comment there that Young spoke of about rework absolutely behind me on his recommendation that we bought the last demo truck. And if I'm not mistaken, back when you and I were being irresponsible with township money, there was $1 million for that truck to replace that. I believe we purchased it for $630,000. So kudos to you guys. Thanks for your efforts, and God bless you.
Yeah.
Okay. Here.
Good evening. Olszewski, Highlands Way. First, a comment, I would have appreciated if a purchase of $500,000 would be on the agenda. I think that's appropriate. A question for Lou. The old truck, can we sell it?
There is a small trading value for the truck. $8,000.
8,000?
Correct.
Wow. Thanks, Lou. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mr. Olszewski. Mr. Hall.
Just as a point of clarification.
Can you, Mr. Hall?
Sure.
Bruce Holmes. Just point of clarification, the insurance rating, it's not just what the town pays?
No.
It affects
Homeowners.
the homeowners. So
Homeowners.
either way, we're going to pay if
Yeah.
our ratings, the ratings go up. So.
We'll personally pay, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I have the memo from the ISO.
All right.
Stating
Anybody else?
Come on up.
No, she already came up.
We can't pick you up.
No, she already came up.
Oh, the mic, that's right, sorry. This is Vicky, 56 Puddingstone Way. What's the possibility of shared services with Phillipsburg and the surrounding? Why, has that been
It's
looked
just a
in?
public comment thing, it's not a question and answer.
Can it be, do other towns share truck services and whatnot?
Pretty much the whole south end of Warren County shares. Our county, the new one that just purchased covers Helena, Alpha, Heber, Kwame. Our ladder truck is second, besides the road ladder truck,
Mhm.
second is Greenwich, Helena, Alpha, and some of Heber.
So is that considered for this new truck?
We have a mutual aid agreement, Mr. Rizicki, with all the surrounding towns. That's police, fire, and emergency squad.
I was under the impression though that we, in order to make our rating, what we have to keep.
Okay, we lose the truck, and then we don't know.
I didn't understand, I thought what she was asking. I understand.
Well, I meant,
Share.
The other organizations, what they have, doesn't count towards our rating.
oh, so really your criteria, well, is to stay within the town to maintain that
For
rating.
this truck.
Anybody else?
Regardless of shared service.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Aiello. Still got more.
Mr. Mayor.
Sir?
Hello, 705 Linda Road, former councilman here in Lopatcong. Lou, just on the fire department, just wanted to pass along what Wilson Borough was. Wilson Borough is a 10-block area over in Pennsylvania. They have 4 full-time firemen. What they do when a fire comes in, they respond, and then the volunteers go right directly to the scene. Now, what I'm up here to talk about is, about 2 summers ago, I met with a former Lopatcong resident by the name of Jeff Barone. Jeff and I got into a discussion about the police department's weapons that were not being worked. Jamming. We talked it over, and he was gracious enough to purchase the weapons for the Lopatcong Police Department. To this day, I don't think the gentleman has ever got a thank you. No proclamation. I know when I was on council, he got a letter? Okay. I wasn't sure about that. I did talk to him. He didn't say that. But I think it should be even more of something more than just a letter. And I will tell you this. He did say that anything the township would need in the future, they'd be gracious enough to purchase for the police department. So I just wanted to get that on record.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Marla Endick, 10 Byron Drive. Just a quick question about the swearing in of Michael Patricia Sargent. We have a police liaison. Is it a committee or is it just one liaison person? How does that work?
It's just the liaison person
Who's the person?
to the police department.
Yes.
It's me.
You're the police liaison? What, Donna, what is your role with the police?
Liaison for bargaining.
For bargaining, okay. So I was surprised when Ms. Schneider said tonight she wasn't even aware that Michael Patricia was being sworn in tonight. I'm curious if the other council members were aware of this as well.
So
If they were aware.
Agenda today, I believe Chief made the recommendation.
So Laura, you're saying yes, you were aware of this?
Yes, I was aware of that.
When did
Got our
you?
agenda.
Okay, so you just found out, everyone found out tonight and he was sworn in today and he was sworn in tonight?
I found out yesterday.
Okay,
I met with the chief yesterday.
okay,
He made the recommendation. Stokes was away. She got back last night, so the agenda was only finalized this morning. So that's when it was placed on the agenda.
okay,
I met
and,
her this morning.
okay.
I put that on there, the gun thing.
Yeah, and while they're still in collective bargaining and this is done and people aren't made aware until the day of it and may have an impact, that couldn't have waited another week or
We
so?
replaced the retired sergeant. It's not like we added somebody new.
Yeah, I got it, but I think my point's
No, it
being
didn't
made.
wait any longer.
No, okay, thank you so much.
Anybody else? Questions, comments?
Yeah, I just have one. Based on Mr. Imhoff's comments, I just wanted to say I went home and I did some of my own assessment based on my own tax rate. I have 2 things. When you talk about the assessed value causing an increase on your taxes if we have a decrease,
I would like to say in 2006, we had a $500 million assessment value increase, about 100%, and our local taxes increased by 2%. Then we had from 2007 to 2011 flat, there was no change in the assessed values. And we had tax increases of 6%, 15%, 10%, 11%, and 4%. We're talking just local municipal tax.
Can you give me your figure again? We had an increase of what? The property valuation in 2006 was $1,010,869,025, and in 2007 was $1,018,383,086.
I'm sorry, I didn't write your numbers down. Say that again.
The property valuation
Yeah.
in 2006 was
Yeah.
$1,010,869,025, and in 2007 was $1,018,383,086. And between 2006 and 2007, the budget went down from $5,852,585 to $5,788,049. It was actually reduced by $64,536.
Right.
1.1%.
Yep, I'm talking about the assessed values and your correlation that because the assessed values decrease that the taxes have to go up. But when
I
they,
never said that. I never said that at all.
you were talking about the assessed value,
No,
the drop in the value, which caused the taxes to go up.
Well, I said in that particular year, when the town's value dropped by $2 billion, we had an established tax rate. And in order to raise the amount of monies that we needed, we had to do two things. First, the amount to be collected by taxes increased exponentially because we didn't have it available as an income stream anymore. And secondly, we had to recoup a lot of the costs that we lost by virtue of that fact in the following budget year, which is why the budget increased by $1 million. That's what I said.
Right, but so it doesn't matter then if the assessed value decreases, increases, or stays flat. The local tax increase has taken place every year. Then I can say based on my own taxes, and I could, I can give you a copy. In 2003, my taxes were $872, local municipal tax. In 2013, my taxes are $2,422.
That's the amount to be collected by taxes.
That's the dollar amount that I'm paying different.
That's the amount to be collected by taxes.
No, that's local municipal tax. That's the tax that this town charges me.
That's correct. The amount to be collected by taxes.
Right, and it increased 178%.
Right. You're absolutely correct.
Did you do it at your
I'm not
bonus to
going
your
to
home?
dispute that. That's correct.
It doesn't, but that doesn't matter because if you took your tax dollars and the percentages that they've gone up over these past years, yours would be the same thing.
Numbers, semantics.
No, it's not. It's not at all. She's correct that the amount to be raised by taxes has gone up.
Yeah.
For the reasons that I said, we don't get anywhere near the state aid that we used to. The budget number, though, the amount of money that this council has spent has changed 19% in the window that he gave us. What you're doing is no different than really what Joe did. You're pointing to the amount of monies to be raised by taxes, not the amount of money that the township has spent. And that is the result of a bunch of other factors beyond the scope that this council can control, which is how much state aid we have, what kind of grants we get, what other reimbursements we might get from other outside agencies. You're talking about totally different things.
Not really, because, if your taxes increase, excuse me.
No, it's just like having a conversation that was going around in circles, but go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
Finish your thing so we can all get out of here and go home.
Okay, well, your taxes go up because of expenditures. It's not because of assessed values that, you were alluding to, so that's what I have to say.
No, let her go. Let her speak to her credibility, no more. Is that it? We're done? Anybody else tonight? Questions, comments? Math? Good. Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.